Yo, people, man. This is your boxing genius from SBNboxing.com. Here to talk to you a little bit about what's going to be happening tomorrow, Saturday, on Showtime. Championship boxing, man. We're going to finally see a true middleweight title showdown. You notice the way I stress that. True middleweight title showdown. But before I get into that, on the undercard, we're going to have the likes of the WBA featherweight champion, which is Jesus Cuellar. Jesus Cuellar, as we all know, is that hard-hitting boxer, another one of those hard-hitting boxers from Argentina, man, who is a champion. He'll be battling the guy by the name of Jonathan Oquendo. Oquendo's from, obviously, where I'm from, Puerto Rico, but he's a light-hitting guy. And I say light-hitting, even though he has 16 knockouts in his 26 fights. But, you know, his 16 knockouts have been against Cajo Público drivers. Those are called taxi cab drivers in Puerto Rico. And, you know, he's going to be battling this guy named, again, Jesus Cuellar. Jesus Cuellar is a hard-hitting dude, you know. And you're also going to have the likes of the one and only Chris Algieri, the former world champion. You know, Chris Algieri, he's going to be taking on the likes of a kid from Ecuador. We've seen him fight before, and Eric Bonet. Eric Bonet, I don't see him going too much, you know, the distance. You know, Chris Algieri might put his ass away. We'll give him a show, you know, of his techniques inside that ring. We all know that Chris Algieri did give Amir Khan a run for his money this last time we've seen him. Correct? We're also going to see the likes of, also on the undercard, a guy from Brooklyn by the name of Heather the Heat Hardy. I've never seen that guy fight before. I don't know who he is, but he's going to be taking on the world champion, a former world champion, we all know is Yuri Foreman. Yuri Foreman, you know, we know that was a former, world champion. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about the main event. The main event is going to be, and I keep stressing it again, I want to stress it one more time, a true middleweight championship bout. A true middleweight championship bout. Why do I stress that? Because we're talking about the true 160. We're not talking about a 156, a 157, a 158, a 159. No, those are called catch weights. Those are called crackjack box weights. We are talking about a true middleweight contest between two true middleweights. One was a former title holder, and today we have another one which is a title holder. We all know the likes of Daniel Jacobs, which is better known as Miracle Man. His biggest battle, I think, in life was against cancer. He will be taking on the Cuban and Cubano, Peter Quillin, better known as Kid Chocolate. We all know Daniel Jacobs, the 30-1 with 27 knockouts, and on Friday night, I seen the weigh-in, you know, which was tonight. I seen that weigh-in. The weigh-in looked good, man. They both look good. They looked at each other. They're friendly. They're friends. They're true friends. But once you get into that ring, like they talk about, the friendship is no longer there. We're talking about business. Two professionals who do boxing, who are truly friends, both from Brooklyn. Both have fans. They both are fighting in Brooklyn. Both from Brooklyn again at the Barclays Center. This is going to be known again as the Battle of Brooklyn. And we all know Peter Chocolate, Kid Chocolate Quillin, El Cubano, the Cuban. He's 32-0 with one draw. That one draw came in his fight against Andy Lee. Remember that. In his last fight, he did not make the weight. And in that fight, if we recall, Andy Lee dropped him also, if I'm not mistaken. Andy Lee dropped Quillin to the canvas. And once he got up by the canvas, he looked kind of shocked, surprised. He'd never visited before, so he looked kind of shocked. And he also lost a lot of momentum later on in the fight. That's why the fight was called a draw between Peter Quillin and actually Andy Lee. Now, on the other side, you have Daniel Jacobs, man. Daniel Jacobs is taller, he's got a longer reach, he is also younger. So he has three or four things happening for himself, you know. But the only thing that I see with Mr. Jacobs, Miracle Man, is that He showed me that he has a pretty light chin. His chin is not the greatest in that division, especially that people hit hard. Okay? You know, Mr. Quillin himself, you know, in his last fight, you know, he looked kind of shaky. It looks kind of shaky in the sense that, you know, Sergio Mora, if I'm not mistaken, Sergio Mora is not a hard-hitting guy. Sergio light hitting, you know, and Sergio Mora put him in the canvas, you know. And I think he put it down on the canvas, and he looked like he was in problems. He looked like he was in trouble, you know, in problems and in trouble. At the same time, if we recall, back in 2009 or 2008, you had A.C. Smith. A.C. Smith hurt him in the fight. You know, and Jacobs, you know, hasn't been fighting any big punches ever since that in the last 5 fights. Since his last one was Dimitri Pudy. Dimitri Pudy was really the big test for him at that time. You know, and he was a hard-hitting, punching dude, you know, and he put him in problems. So, you know, I'm looking as a big test, you know, as a big test for Mr. Miracle Man, Daniel Jacobs. The big test for him is going to be that whether he could take a shot from Kid Chocolate, Peter Quillin, and continue to rock and roll in the fight. You know, because the way I see it, if Peter Quillin will start the fight early and keeps pressure on Mr. Miracle Man, you could be in problems. He could be in problems. And we could see a new champion. But at the same time, if Mr. Miracle Man uses his jab, his height, his also speed, and boxes, and gets to tag Kid Chocolate might visit the canvas, and he might be in problems. The way I look at it this way, man, it's not going to be an easy match to judge. It's going to be a fight that's going to be hard to judge. It's going to be a pretty good fight. It's not going to be a bullshit fight at the middleweight division. It's going to be a good-ass fight at the middleweight division. And we all know, like we said before, Peter Kid Chocolate Quillin was at one time a former champ, you know, but again, he vacated the title because he couldn't defend his title, did not want to defend his title against a guy by the name of Matt Kobernoff. He's from here, from St. Petersburg, Florida, about an hour and a half from here, St. Petersburg. But his reasons at that time were that obviously that one of his uncles, one of his favorite uncles, if not his best uncle, was dying, and he loved him very much. And at the same time, his wife was actually having a baby. She was pregnant. And that's why he vacated the title. He wasn't concentrating too much. But the way I see it is that I laugh. You know why I laugh? Because, you know, a lot of these guys say things, but they forget about things that have happened a couple of weeks before or a couple of months before it happens. But I have a feeling that Mr. Peter Kid Chocolate Quillin really vacated that title for the reason that I think that he was actually told that his next challenge or next contender or next fight was going to probably be Triple G. Triple G, as we all know, is the true king of the 160 division today, and he's been knocking people out every time, 21 consecutive knockouts. So I don't think that Kid Chocolate wanted to face him at that time. I honestly don't think so. That's why he got the fuck out. It wasn't his wife being pregnant to me. It wasn't his uncle dying, and that he loved him so much, because we all know, hey, everybody got to die sometimes. And if anything, that would give you more of an inspiration for you to fight. Okay? Especially if your wife is pregnant and somebody new coming into this world. Make some money, dude. So, you know, I don't know. But all I do know is that whoever wins here tomorrow night in Barclays Center at the True Middleweight Showdown, at Showtime, you may, maybe see somebody at the 160 fight Triple G. Okay? And I say a true middleweight title because, you know what I'm talking about. Don't mention any damn names, these rinky-dink guys going around here inviting guys to come down. I meet you halfway. I meet you here. Leave that shit for boyfriend and girlfriend, man. I meet you at the bus stop, at school, in the hallway, whatever. But anyway, that's the way I see it. I'm going to call this fight tomorrow night. I like Jacobs, but it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. It's not going to be an easy fight for Jacobs. Again, it's going to be a true test of his actual endurance and jaw, especially if Quillin gets a hold of him and tags him. That's the way I see it. Chris Algieri should not have any problems with his fight on the Eric Bonet, and also Jesus Cuellar should not have any fights any problem putting away Jonathan Oquendo. And how it goes as far as the guy from Brooklyn, Hardy, I don't know. Never heard of him. But again, Yuri Foreman, I don't know how that fight's going to be. Maybe that's a toss-up. I really don't know. But anyway, guys, you guys be good. I'll see y'all. And maybe tomorrow I'll tell you a little bit about what was the outcome of last night's fight. Later. Good night.